the Retro Network podcast.
That's nothing new, sweetheart. You enjoy it, but it's from well before your time.
That was a segue I had not intended, but good for you.
The flagship show for the Retro Network podcast channel.
Yes, this is the TRN podcast. Jason and Mickey with you.
Yes!
Get ready for the latest pop culture news.
We've got plenty of recurrent events headlines to get to.
Star Trek episode 49. Cobra, la 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 la.
Wow, we're still making Tomb Raider movies?
What is up with that?
And topical discussions on all that stuff we grew up with and just can't leave in the past.
If I commissioned somebody to write me a song about the feeling I get when I think about the 80s, this would be it. Defunct department store mascots that should be Funko Pops.
The little elf from Heels.
All right, Funko, are you listening? Probably not. Did you watch a lot of Mr. Rogers?
No, I couldn't stand it.
Really? You hater. You freaking Mr. Rogers hater.
And now, here are your hosts for the Retro Network podcast, Jason.
Mental note taken.
And Mickey.
Have you ever had an afternoon after nap hangover?
Jason and Mickey back for TRN podcast number 29. Mick, how you been, man? Have you had a better week this week?
Well, you've got half of Mickey here this week. The other half is dead.
Oh, no. I'm going to get my shovel and dig him back up, man.
Like a phoenix, I'll rise again. But
there you go.
It's just been a busy, long, tiring week.
I'll take half of Mickey more than, no Mickey at all. So,
yeah, that's what everybody says, I reckon. No, it's just been busy. How's your week been?
It's been all right. It's been okay. I'm kind of in mourning myself. One of my favorite stores is closing. World Market is closing. The store that I get my cheer wine, all those fun beverages that we talk about in between segments and stuff, it is closing. And going in right next to it is a friggin' Dollar Tree.
Oh, man.
How do you go from a World Market to a Dollar Tree, man?
Well, at least at Dollar Tree, you'll be able to pick up bottles of Dad's root beer, though.
Well, that's true. I do like Dad's root beer, but I'm just kind of in mourning. It was like one of my favorite stores, and I went in there, 30% off all their alcohol. And I can tell you, I'll probably go back tomorrow, and there will be nothing left. I mean, slews of people in there. Just I filled up like 3 6-packs. They have those little packs that you can get and do just like random beers. Got 3 of those. I filled one with cheer wine and some New York seltzer for the kids, and I'm just like, no. Well, all my fun drinks from the past are going away.
We ain't got no store around here called World Market. About the biggest geographical sounding thing we got is the County Line Beer Joint. So now they've got a pretty good selection there too. You can get Budweiser in a can or Budweiser in a glass.
Yeah.
So
that's all you need, right?
Yeah.
You can't find that in a Dollar Tree though.
No.
That's my point. Anyway, it was just a fun store that I loved going in, and I don't know why they're closing them. They're shutting them all down, in the South or whatever, but you win some, you lose some.
Yeah. Well, hey, I got some news this week.
Uh-huh.
I finally signed up for Disney Plus.
Ah, yes. What did you go for first?
What was the first thing? I don't even remember what the first thing. Oh, I do remember what the first thing we watched on it was. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the 7 Little Superheroes episode with the chameleon.
Oh, okay.
And it had Sheena the Jungle Queen and Doctor Strange, Captain America, and Namor the Submariner all in the episode. We watched the first 6 episodes of The Mandalorian, and we saved the final 2 because I think I'd heard it kind of went, one bled right into the other. It's kind of like the finale. So we're going to watch that at some point this weekend, I hope. The youngest and I binge watched. She stayed up with me all night. I guess maybe Sunday night, because we started watching the X-Men cartoon from 92.
Uh-huh.
We watched all 13 episodes of the first season in a row.
Nice.
The wife and the oldest have been binge watching Gummy Bears season 4 and 5. because we got the DVD sets of the first 3 seasons. So they picked up, we've watched those 1,000 times in her life. So they picked up
Gotcha.
season 4. It's new episodes to her. What else have we watched? The wife has been watching several things. She watched, I told her about those National Geographic documentaries you talked about. What were they called? Uncovering or
Draining.
She watched the one on the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, cool. I haven't watched that one yet. We watched the World War II one, which was really interesting the other day. What was the other one we watched? Anyway, those are really cool.
Well, and there were some movies on there. We got on that the A to Z movie list and was just browsing down through there the first day, seeing what all they had. And I had forgot that, some movies that I really enjoyed were Disney movies. Like
right.
it had totally escaped me that National Treasure was a Disney movie. So, there were some pleasant surprises on there. I had forgotten that The Mighty Ducks was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And we saw that and I'm like, hey, let's watch a movie. We'll watch it. And I hollered at the kids, told them to get ready. We was going to watch a movie. I kind of explained it to them. They're like, okay, we made popcorn. Everybody got their drinks. We settled down, clicked on it. It was one of them mother trucking placeholders. The movie is not even on there. This movie is coming July 20th, 2020. I'm like, you sons of...
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Go ahead.
I got another nitpick, too. So before you and I got on to record this, I was eating a little dinner. I told you I'm here by myself, and I was flipping through and come across DuckTales.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the problems with the DuckTales DVD releases is the first 5 episodes of the series, they done as a 2-hour movie to debut the series back in 1987. And then they put all 5 episodes, kind of like G.I. Joe used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Those 5 episodes were never on any of the DVD releases. So I get on there hoping to see. They have episodes 1, 2, and 5.
What?
They don't have 3 and 4. No. Okay, so I'm like, well, that sucks. And I got to thinking about, one of my favorite episodes was the one where Launchpad Civil War, where some ancient family member was a scapegoat in the Civil War, whatever. He goes back to a reenactment and becomes a hero. So I'm gonna watch that. It's not on there either. They skip over it. So I got online and was looking to see, well, what season and episode number was that? And I found it, season 1, episode 27. That's not what they have as episode 27. I thought, okay, well, with them missing the 3 and 4, maybe the numbering's wrong. So I looked at the episode titles on each side of that episode. Well, they're both there, but Launchpad Civil War is not from in between them.
Weird.
Yeah, and then season 2, they've only got like 20 of the episodes, and season 3, they only have like 5 or 6 episodes from. So I don't know what they're doing, but
that's weird.
So far I've hit a few nitpicks with it. There's no, like, Netflix has the continue watching thing, and I haven't seen that on Disney Plus yet. Like, we're watching X-Men. You want to go back and watch more, you have to go through and find the thing again. It's not in its own bar that you've been watching it.
There is one. It's like the 5th. You have to scroll down at least one screen that you can't see on the homepage, because I have found that myself. It's there.
Well, the placeholder thing really stuck it to me.
Yeah.
We got all prepped to watch DuckTales.
Yeah, I haven't had any experiences like that with the episode thing. I went straight for Treasure of the Lost Lamp with the DuckTales, that movie. Mm-hmm. And oh gosh, I loved watching that again. I forgot that it was Christopher Lloyd that did the main bad guy, mm-hmm. and really enjoyed that. We watched that as a family. And then the last 3 nights, we've been binging, 3 or 4 nights, we've been binging all the Marvel movies, like the 3 Captain America. We watched Iron Man 3. I had not watched that since the theater. And then the 2 Guardians of the Galaxy. I finally watched Captain Marvel. They don't have Infinity War, the first part of that, on there. I think that's still maybe on Netflix.
Yeah, I think
so we had to skip over that, and we went straight to Endgame, which my oldest had not watched yet. He's like the last person on the planet that hadn't watched Endgame. And he was totally surprised, spoilers here, that Iron Man bites it.
Oh, wow.
he had no idea. I was like, how did you? Nobody at school told you or anything? No. I was like, wow.
Well, I had printed off somebody had put together this massive chronological watch list of everything in the MCU. And one day when I retire, I might try to do that because it takes into account all the episodes of all the various Marvel TV shows and stuff. No. And they do it in chronological order. So, of course, it starts with Agent Carter. You got to watch every season of it first. And then, well, I'm going to do that one day, maybe when I retire.
Yeah. We were trying to go a little bit in order, but we were mainly hitting ones that we had not watched a lot of. And that was really fun. Just having access to all those and just being able to click. You know, I've only got maybe 2 or 3 of the DVDs or Blu-rays, you know, the Spider-Mans, which aren't on there. So I guess that's good that I have those until those come back around, or if they come back around. Because I guess there's technically not Marvel Studios. There's Sony, right? Or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, I was shocked to see that they had stuff like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends and the Incredible Hulk that was part of that too.
Right.
And the mid-90s Marvel series that Fox used to show, Silver Surfer and Fantastic Four and stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's a ton of them on there.
But one thing I was a little disappointed in the Star Wars section, there's no Droids cartoon or no Ewoks cartoon. Or, matter of fact, no Ewok movies either.
Nope. Those are not on there. And no holiday special. And no, well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having the cartoons on there. Those are probably, I didn't watch them a lot as a kid, but they would still be fun to go back through and watch. Well,
for completest sake, you know,
right?
You should have it on there. Like if they own the whole Star Trek franchise, you would want the Star Trek animated series on there as part of all the movies and TV shows and stuff.
Okay. So quick overall thoughts on The Mandalorian.
I dig it because it is, and I guess I've heard this tagline too. It really is like a Western in space. It's written and done like the old serial Westerns, like the Guns of Will Sonnet and stuff like that. So I really like it. I was talking to a guy at work and he said that I probably enjoyed it more where I was able to watch them back to back to back, because he said it got a little tiresome waiting for the new episode each week.
Oh, no. No. Well, not for me, at least.
Yeah, well, he's a big binge watcher, you know. He was jealous that I got on late and could watch it all versus having to wait. But I like the fact that it's like a Western.
Yeah.
You know, he's the good guy and he's fighting all these different bad guys. But much like I thought from reading spoilerless reviews, it is awfully redundant in every episode, you know.
Yeah. There's a couple episodes that were kind of slow or just, I don't know. It seemed like it was there to get to the next big thing, you know what I mean? Yeah. But there's still just some great shots. The episode, I think it's episode like 3, when the whole Mandalorian guild comes up and starts kicking ass, you know? Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was just unbelievable.
I've seen a lot of people hoping that there's a crossover between it and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, but I was reading the timelines. You know, The Mandalorian is set after Return of the Jedi.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's set in that period between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens.
Oh.
And Obi-Wan Kenobi is going to be set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. It'll be like when he goes to Tatooine. I got a feeling the show's going to look pretty similar because from what I've read,
right?
You know, he's going to be out there on a desert planet. It kind of going to look a lot alike, I'd imagine.
Right, yeah.
Which is probably by design. It saves production money. You can get 2 series out of one filming location and stuff.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, let's keep moving on with the podcast. I'm glad you got Disney Plus now, though, so we can go back and forth on some of these. And there's just so many movies and old movies I want to watch on there.
Oh, one more note for people who looking at the bundle who may not overly like sports. I didn't realize this until I got it, but ESPN Plus not only has all those documentaries and stuff, it has classic boxing matches. There's Mike Tyson fights on there. There's Ali fights and stuff you can go back and watch. So a lot of retro stuff from the 70s and 80s people can go catch back up on.
Yeah, I've grown to like it a little bit more since I first got it too, and seeing what football games that they had on there, I was like, really? But it's worth it just for those documentaries too. I mean, gosh, there's just so many, and I didn't realize that they went, there was 30 for 30. There's 30 films, and then they did another 30, and then they extended like the first season too into like 20 some more. There's like, I don't know what, nearly 100 of them total.
Yeah.
There's just so many. So, and they're really well done. I mean, most of them are, the top directors, and just some like that one from 1994, the day of the OJ chase, that just shows footage. That's one of my favorites. There's just no interviews or nothing. It's just all of the news footage kind of spliced together, and it's so great.
Yeah.
So good. All right. Well, speaking of movies, we're going to be watching some movies this year. Let me tell you, we've finally landed on our first episode. I don't know. Should we go ahead and tell them? I guess it's going to be after the time we tell them. But the Drive-In 95 we're going to do for Patreon. We've been teasing it. It's going to come later this month here in January. And we have landed on Tommy Boy to start. I cannot wait.
25th anniversary.
25th anniversary of Tommy Boy. I was doing all my research this week, and some great nuggets in there. I just can't wait to dive into this movie, and hope you guys will comment and leave your feedback on Tommy Boy this coming week, as we are getting ready to go ahead and record that episode and release it over there on Patreon. So if you have not signed up yet, please go do so. $2 gets you access to our monthly episodes, including the new outtakes episodes that we're doing. You're going to be able to hear them first over there. And we throw some behind the scenes stuff and some articles that you just won't find anywhere else. So we take good care of you over there on Patreon for coming on just for a couple bucks. So very excited to get to Tommy Boy, and really to the rest of the list too. I mean, there's some good ones from 95 that I can't wait to get to.
Go a little behind the scenes for people. When Jason and I started talking about doing this, there was a lot of fun movies in 95, and we kind of put our list together. At least I did. I know we talked about it. Some movies, the popular ones like Tommy Boy, some of the bigger ones, but then we threw in some personal favorites that we just get a kick out of. So there's some that may not make a lot of sense to some people. Like, with all the movies in 95, why are they doing this one? Well, right. We want to.
Yeah.
And also to remind people, if you do want to come over to Patreon and subscribe, just if you're a new listener, what we do with that money that comes in, Jason and I are not just sticking it in our pockets. We're using it to help other creators fund their projects for the Retro Network and get stuff off the ground. So the more you give, the more you get.
Absolutely. I did go out and buy a Happy Meal, though, with some of my money recently. No. Research, right? Research.
Well, that could be part of it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I know there's at least one movie you have not seen on the 95 list that we're going to get to.
That you've been dying for me to see, just so we can talk about it.
That's right. And we talked about it too. I'm thinking, throughout the year as we're searching for topics and stuff, there might be some movies that we'll go ahead and release in the regular feed that's not, in those 25 that we've initially picked for Patreon. So
we didn't pick 25, we picked 12.
I'm sorry. Yes, 12.
And
12 for Patreon.
People knowing Jason and I, we took the whole list. We each picked 6. So you're getting 6 Jason picks and 6 Mickey picks of movies mixed together. Right. So you get a little blending of the tastes.
Yeah. There's actually one that I'm like, really? You picked that one? So yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a fun journey this year. So hope you guys will join us for that. But we've got a great show for you coming up in the Recurrent Events.
Well, we hope it's a great show.
Well, I put it together, man. It's a great show.
Well, yeah, great in concept, but execution sometimes, we'll just see how it goes.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've got our normal format coming to you. We got Recurrent Events coming up. We're going to be talking about a new G.I. Joe mobile game, amongst other headlines this week. And then in the TRN Time Machine, sponsored by Retro Days, we are following up a previous show that we did. I think it was back in maybe the 1st of November. We did our top 5 Happy Meal toys. And correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe it was a listener that suggested we go ahead and do our top 5 from other restaurants.
I don't remember, but I know we got probably as much or more feedback on that episode as any episode we've done. So whether a listener suggested it or not, I remembered it. It hit my brain, and I'm like, let's do that and see if we can keep that feedback train going.
Right. So we are coming back around. We are going to do our top 5 fast food toys. I put / promotions in there too, because not all these that I was looking at were toys, but from the 80s, 90s era when we were kids, and we're going to leave out McDonald's since we already covered McDonald's. So
yeah, Burger you get King, all the other toys.
Yeah, we're going to go through all those, and lots of great feedback this week as well on from other people who chimed in. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's get on to those recurrent events. All right, our recurrent events this week. This one, I had not known it was coming out. This G.I. Joe War on Cobra mobile game. It's coming out January 20th. It's going to play similar to the game Clash of Clans, if you've ever played that before, Meg. I don't know. You're not really into mobile games, I don't think, right?
No, but my wife had one of the games where you're on these islands or something. It was like Clash of Clans, that whole same thing, and it just didn't tickle my fancy the way those games are set up. But
yeah, it's not one that I would gravitate towards, but being G.I. Joe, I am interested. I did pre-register, and I want to do a review of it at the very least and see how it all plays out. The characters look a little different, and it's just probably the newer CGI style and so forth. But they did, I think, do some gender swaps too, because Doc was a girl, I think. I don't know. Was that is that canon?
I
don't ever remember.
It wasn't in 1985. I don't know what
right,
canon is now, but in 85 it wasn't.
So that was a little weird. I don't know if that's coming out of the comics or something too, but not the real American Hero comics that I know of. Anyway, G.I. Joe War on Cobra coming out January 20th. I'm going to be downloading that for sure. And I did see this week that they just started filming the Snake Eyes movie in Japan. They had some pictures up, and I did see that. So excited for that to come around and see what they're going to do with Snake Eyes. Speaking of movies, I read a remake of Joe Dante's The Howling is coming for Netflix. It's going to be directed by Andrew Muschietti, who is actually getting ready to do the Flash movie for Warner Brothers. And after that, he's going to be jumping on this Howling remake. Have you ever watched that one, Mick?
I don't think I've ever seen The Howling.
I think it was 1981, from what I remember. Again, I'm not the horror person, so it's not one that I had connected with. One that did catch my eye this week as far as movies go is, well, it's actually a miniseries. HBO is doing a 6-part series about this bizarre case of McDonald's monopoly fraud. Did you see this?
I've seen Chad at Horror Movie Barbecue mention it, and then I, of course, seen it on your notes, and I didn't know they were making it, but I have read the story. It is absolutely fascinating. I'd like to see the documentary. Are you familiar with the overall story?
No, I was reading a little bit about it, but I was not familiar at all of what went down. There's like some insider stuff going on, and
yeah, one of the guys who was responsible for distributing the pieces or something made sure he had a network of people who would go get them, and they all split the money for years and years and years. If you want to read about it, I can't remember the name of the article, but you can go to the website damninteresting.com, and you can just search McDonald's or Monopoly in their search bar, and you'll find it, anybody who's listening. It's a long read on there. It'll probably take you 20, 30 minutes to read it, but it is absolutely fascinating.
I was just sitting back and thinking, how many times has McDonald's hooked me with those freaking Monopoly pieces? And to read something like this, that nobody had ever won the $1 million prize or something.
Well, nobody legitimately.
Yeah, he was distributing, I guess, some of the lower level prizes, but gosh, it was crazy just to read about it. But I think it's going to be an excellent series to look at. It's a very interesting case, and I think Monopoly is probably McDonald's best like promotion over the years, as far as attracting customers. So that is coming to HBO. Speaking of food, did you see that WWE is bringing the ice cream bars back?
I did. I also saw that on Chad's Horror Movie Barbecue Twitter page.
Good on you, Chad, for funding our recurrent events this week.
Yeah, he's scooping us on everything.
He is. He really is. Did you see there's a couple changes, though? It's not going to be the exact, bars on the stick. They're actually getting rid of the stick, and it's just going to be like a sandwich. But they're not going to have the chocolate either on the back. It's just the 2 cookies with the vanilla ice cream and then the image branded on the top cookie, like they did back in the day.
Well, very unfortunately, I'm not going to know what I'm missing because I've never had a WWF Superstar bar. They weren't sold here. Anywhere around, they weren't sold.
Yeah, I remember having them we had a little general store, candy store we went to, and we would get them there along with all of our, nerds and whatever Garbage Pail Kid cards and stuff that we were getting back then. And yeah, it wasn't something I got a lot of, but I do remember having them. But I think it's fun that they're bringing them back. It's one of those, parts of the wrestling history that a lot of fans, oh yeah, you remember when they used to have the ice cream bars? And
oh yeah, it's a big part of the nostalgia fandom for a lot of wrestling fans. And it is me too, even though I never got them because I always wanted them. They'd show commercials for them during the shows, and you'd have like the bushwhackers eating them and different people eating their ice cream bar. I'm like, why can't I get those? So now maybe I can. If I find them around here, there will be a video review on the Retro Network.
Well, we are, I'm putting up a link to the Good Humor site who's putting them out, and you can actually search and find where they're going to be available near you. So
good.
You can do that, and definitely need to get a review from you. So I finally got a WWF ice cream bar, or WWE, whatever.
No, I'm going to call them WWF. Don't worry.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah. Are you looking for a job? I know you work some long hours, man. How would you like a different job?
Well, as busy as I am, I've actually still have 23 minutes left in my week right now, every week. Okay. So if it's a job I can fit in 23 minutes a week, I could probably take it on.
No, this is a full-time for a year job. Oscar Mayer is looking for somebody to drive the Wienermobile for an entire year. They're actually looking for college graduates with degrees in like journalism, public relations, advertising, communications, marketing, something like that. And they're going to travel as brand ambassadors for a full year, full-time pay across the country in the Wienermobile. So if that sounds like you, that you just want to take a year off and tour the country in the Wienermobile, I'll put a link up and you can go apply.
You got to have a college degree or anything?
That's what they're looking for.
I wonder if applicable experience would work because I've got years of experience handling my wiener. So
I was waiting for it.
Back in high school, that's what I used to call it. I'm driving the Wienermobile.
Oh gosh. Okay. So moving along, streaming news. Got a few things here coming out. Saved by the Bell. Remember we said it's going to get a reboot coming. I don't know if it's coming this year. I can't remember when the exact time frame was, but initially we thought that Zach Morris was not going to be a part of it, Mark Paul Gosselaar, and it turns out he will be. He's going to be actually a producer on the show and appear in at least 3 episodes, I read. So good on them for bringing Zach Morris back. I think you got to have Zach Morris with a Saved by the Bell reboot,
Yeah, the Saved by the Bell world does revolve around Zach, so.
Yeah, I think they initially said something about him being governor or something, so that ought to be interesting. We'll see how that goes.
If it's still set in a school somewhere, I really think Dustin Diamond should be brought back to play the new principal. Unless, of course, I don't know, the actor who plays Mr. Belding, he's still alive, isn't he?
He is.
Maybe we'll get him on some episodes. That would be good. I'm sure he'd work much cheaper than Dustin Diamond would these days.
Probably. Although they kind of left Screech out of the reunion they had on, what was it? It was on Jimmy Fallon a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When they brought them all back, and he's obviously had his problems, but they
and he wrote that book Behind the Bell that exposed all that stuff too, which I have, and it's a great read if you were a fan of Saved by the Bell.
I have not read that, so interesting. Okay, here's a couple more reboots and remakes coming. Fox is reviving America's Most Wanted. I actually had not realized they finally ended the show because I knew it moved to, what was it, like Lifetime or something? But anyway, it says they're currently looking for a host, and they're going to take a more global approach since the Fox president says, quote, "A lot of fugitives travel these days." As of 2008, though, the show had helped capture 1,000 fugitives. That's insane. You think about it, but it's a good time, I think, with all these like true crime shows hitting Netflix and everywhere, and everybody's into that true crime kind of, television and reality. This should work pretty well, in this day and age, bringing it back.
Yeah. So you say they're looking for a host?
They're looking for a host. There's another gig for you.
America's Most Wanted or driving the Wienermobile. Somehow those two topics kind of go hand in hand, I would imagine.
You remember the movie The Last of the Mohicans? What was that like? That had to have been like early 90s.
92, maybe?
Something like that. 92? I was in high school. They're making a series out of that on HBO Max. It's going to be using the same executive producer as True Detective, which I haven't watched any of those seasons of that show on HBO, but it's going to recenter the classic tale on the unlikely romance between Uncas, a young Mohican, and Cora, the mixed-race daughter of a British colonel. So we'll chalk that up and put that on our HBO Max list for when that comes out, I believe in May this year. So I thought that was interesting. They're, gearing up for that, gearing up some new content. ABC, they're bringing back 30-something as a sequel series. The pilot has already been cast with 4 of the original members, and they're, I guess, assembling some kind of writing room to gear up for the first season. But 30-something was not a show I remember watching a lot of.
Yeah, me either. I think it used to come on Wednesday nights after like Wonder Years and whatever was on with it.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
So I remember seeing like, coming up next on 30-something, but I never watched it, but I've seen a lot of bumpers for it, it seems like.
So you're going to get a sequel series for that coming to ABC, and then ABC also nabbed a Supermarket Sweep reboot. Going to be hosted by Leslie Jones, the former SNL cast member. I think former. I don't think she's on the show anymore. I don't watch it, but anyway, so far they're going to film 10 episodes for this spring. So I'm anxious to see what that's going to be like, because I will watch old episodes of Supermarket Sweep. I love the show.
Me too.
That's another one of those Pluto TV channels that I watch. I think it's called Buzzer, and they put Supermarket Sweep reruns on there. So looking forward to that. And then I had not realized they're doing another Superman show on the CW. Superman and Lois, I think is what they're going to call it. And from the headlines I was reading, it's going to be something we haven't seen before. So I guess they're going to some different direction or some, new origin story or something with the two characters.
Yeah, instead of them being in love with each other, Superman is gay and they're best friends. And they go shopping and stuff like that together.
So it's going to be a sitcom. A Superman sitcom. How about that? That is looking to debut during the fall season this year, 2020-21, I guess spring, on the CW. And I guess they've incorporated the two characters already into the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. So people who know a little bit more about that than me, you can comment on what you think about that coming up. But that's going to be it for the recurrent events this week. Lots of reboot news there, and I've got more over on the website. As always, I'm posting on Sundays. So you can get more, and I've been trying to post more during the week too. If you'll follow at Recurrent Events, getting those new stories out as they're, hit my feed and sharing with everybody. So thanks everybody for checking out the Recurrent Events. And coming up next, we're going back in the time machine, back to those days of visiting our favorite fast food restaurants and getting those kids' meals. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to this. So stick around for that. Hey everyone, it is Jason again, and I just wanted to take a quick minute to invite you to go check out my new monthly feature on the Retro Network, the Retro Streaming Guide. I've got one up for the month of January, giving you all of the inside info on services like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, even Disney Plus, CBS All Access, and some of the freebies like Tubi, Crackle, and the Roku channel. Each section in the guide has a list of classic TV shows and movies for you to check out on each of those services. I also teased in our Recurrent Events 2020 preview that we are going to be following several shows this year and doing episode reviews on the Retro Network. One of those is coming up this month on CBS All Access, the new Picard TV series in the Star Trek universe. And if you're looking to check that out and don't have CBS All Access yet, I would invite you to go to the retronetwork.com website and look in that right-hand column. There's a banner for the series that you can check out on CBS All Access. Get your first week free on there. And by clicking through that link, you'll help the Retro Network without costing you any extra if you would have gone directly to the CBS All Access website. So if you will do that before you check out Picard and go over to that link on the homepage, that would really help us out. And be looking for more streaming content coming this year on the Retro Network. All right, welcome back to the TRN Time Machine on the Retro Network podcast, sponsored by Retro Days, as usual. We love those guys at Retro Days. Go over to YouTube, subscribe to the Retro Days channel, check out RD's Detention and all the fun stuff they have over there, and also visit retro-daze.org for a wonderful, wonderful retro community to connect with. Oh, man. Fast food, Happy Meals. I guess we can't call them Happy Meals. Kids Meals this week since we're leaving out McDonald's. But I had a couple little icebreaker questions I want to throw at you, Mick, before we get into our lists. And that is, what fast food chains did you have around your area? I know you kind of lived in the sticks or still live in the sticks, but when you were going to fast food places, where did you go besides Pizza Hut? We know Pizza Hut.
Yeah, the closest town to us, we had Pizza Hut, we had McDonald's, Burger King, Hardee's, and Wendy's, and Long John Silver's. And then as I got a little older, Taco Bell and Arby's both came in. And I think that's about what it still is in that town, minus the Pizza Hut. Actually, the Pizza Hut went out there. And where I live now, we used to come up this way to this town some, and they had just a little less, but I didn't have, of course, I didn't live in part of the country where you could get In-N-Out Burger, Whataburger, Jack in the Box, any of that. So I just what I call the old standards.
Gotcha. My first hometown was a one-stoplight town. The only fast food we had there was a Tasty Freeze. So I got to suck on chili dogs outside the Tasty Freeze as a kid. But we, about 9 miles away, there was a larger town where I go back to when I go home now. And they had McDonald's, Burger King, let's see, Pizza Hut, Long John Silver's. Long John Silver's is still there. The Pizza Hut just moved from their original building out to the mall 2 years ago, I think. And I just learned that building is being repurposed, so it no longer is there, which kind of saddens me. I think that's it. I don't remember. We had to go over to another city about, 20, 30 minutes away to get your Wendy's and some of the other Hardee's and other restaurants like that, but that was mainly it. We had a Mr. Donut too. You remember Mr. Donut?
Nope.
Mom actually worked there for a while. That was like right beside the McDonald's. But so I was kind of limited with, what the toys and the restaurants and the fast food chains. But we did have a couple small little local restaurants too that we frequented that I enjoyed just as much as the fast food places. Did you have any of those in that town?
Well, I wasn't counting fast food, but we had actually chain restaurants. We had Western Steer that I have very fond memories of, and Bonanza. Western Steer went out, and then Bonanza came in another part of town. That's really about it that I can remember. There were some little mom and pop places, what everybody around here calls a meat and three, where you go get a meat and 3 side dishes. But had several of those that were always really good.
Yeah, we had, actually, I think this is a chain, Fox's Pizza, at least around Pennsylvania. There were several I know in other cities and stuff too. And then there's a little joint that I usually have to go back and get a sandwich each time I go back home called Sid's Sub Shop. And it was this, it still is, it's still there. It's this dome-shaped building. It just stands out. It's weird when you go past it. And they had a little second floor, but we were mainly on the first floor. And you go in and it's just like a mom and pop Subway, but they also had pizza and other foods there. And that's where I fondly remember waiting for food and hitting up some arcade machines at the time. They had the cocktail Miss Pac-Man and 1942 or 43. I can't remember which one it was. Games like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I loved playing those games, begging mom for the quarters while you're waiting for your food. And, Pizza Hut was, I think, the only chain restaurant that had stuff like that too, that I remember, at least in my town. So yeah, there were some fun places like that. But yeah, I mean, you're going to the fast food places, you're getting the kids meal, you're wanting the toy because they don't have the arcade machines that you want to play or, get entertained with. Don't have those little kids packs, with the stuff in. So I guess that was the appeal to me going to the fast food places, was getting the kids meal versus going to a more sit down traditional restaurant, waiting on the food and hoping that they have a, Galaga back by the restrooms, But anyway, so we did our McDonald's list. That was really fun. It motivated me to actually look for McDonald's book like you had. I found one at a local thrift shop just a couple months ago, right after we did the podcast. But I don't know. There's really no real good resources out there. At least I found that were accurate enough to give you stuff beyond Happy Meal toys. Did you find any good resources out there?
No, just my brain, just me remembering stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember some stuff, but I like to have, like I said, I like to have pictures with my words. So I like the visuals. And once you remember something, you can find some pictures and stuff. But there's not like one real database or something online to find this stuff.
Yeah, I've not found anything like that. I remembered these items here in particular, and I run them through the Google machine and popped up with a picture of them. And yeah, it's like, yep, that's it.
Okay. So how do you want to do it? You want to go through kind of chronologically like we did last time and just list them out that way? Or do you have like a true top 5?
No, not really a top 5. Chronological would be fine with me.
Okay. Well, I can't remember who went first last time.
Well, I've got an honorable mention, so I can kind of go first.
Okay.
And it fits in chronological order. It's the earliest one on the list.
Okay, we'll go for it.
1984. That's the year Gremlins come out, right? The movie?
Yes.
So right at the tail end of that, or early 85, I can't remember exactly when it came out, Hardee's put out the set of the Gremlins storybooks and records. The record would read you the storybook.
Yeah.
And they had 4 of them told the tale of the movie. And that is one of the, besides Happy Meal toys, that's one of the earlier kids meal premium things I can remember. And it may have been one that you actually had to pay for in addition to the meal. I don't, didn't get to look that part up.
Man.
But I still have books 1 and 4. I have with the records with them still today. So I didn't think about it. I could have pulled that out and got the date out of it, couldn't I?
Yeah. Just looking at a YouTube video, looks like they were 99 cents to purchase those with your kids' meal. I'm a huge, I collect them now when I see them in thrift stores, the book and record set or book and tape. I've got a few of those as well. And was ecstatic. Just, I think it was last weekend, was at the thrift store digging through the kids' books. I must look like a total goon, digging through kids' books. But I found the book for the Thundercats tape and storybook. No tape with it, but I was ecstatic. I saw that image. I was like, no, and picked it up for $1 and was on my way. So I love those. And I remember having some of those as a kid. I had a He-Man one. I had one that was Scooby-Doo. I think I had the A-Team as well. So I had those.
I had a stack of those things. And I told you when we done the show on our favorite retro collectibles we still have. That's one of the things my mom gave me. She kept up with them for years. And when I had kids, she gave them all back to me. I didn't even know she still had them all. So I've got like a Dukes of Hazzard and Casper, and just even some that weren't with books, just kids records, like On Top of Spaghetti, and just all that stuff.
The Peter Pan.
I love them.
Yeah, there's some fun ones back then. All right, well, I guess I'll go first or next. Speaking of Thundercats, 1985 Burger King had the Thundercats kids meals, and I remember having the ring. It came with several different things. So first you got a cup with a lid, and it had this glorious art on the side with the logo and Chitara and Tigra. And then you could get the light switch. And I think it was was it a label, or was it like an actual light switch?
It was an actual light switch that I want to say it would go over your existing light switch. I don't believe you actually had to remove the actual casing panel off your existing light switch. I believe this was big enough to just mount over it. But I had that.
See, I can't remember if I did or not. I mean, it looks so familiar, and I've seen it over the years, and it glows in the dark. That was the cool thing too. Oh my gosh. I do remember having a ring. There was a gray ring, and in the middle was like a lenticular image of Lion-O and the Thundercats logo. I do remember having that. And then there was also pencil toppers. You could get Snarf or Mumut, which was Mumra's like dog. I don't remember that in the series. I don't remember the episodes with Mumut, but anyway, those were great. I do remember having the ring, and I quite possibly the light switch, but
well, I'm currently doing a little Google work while you're talking. You can get 2 of the light switch covers still in their original plastic baggies. You can get 2 of them on Etsy for $12.
That's not bad.
No, not for what it is. No, it's not bad at all.
In the package, man. Yeah, not used. Shoot.
Yep.
Very cool. So that was my first choice.
All right. Well, going in chronological order, mine goes back to, I got a couple of them that are the same year. Well, I'll go with the weaker of the two. Willow Magic Cups from Wendy's. Those come out as part of the promotion movie. Wendy's wasn't known and is not really remembered for their excessive collection of kids' meal toys from through the years or kids' meal things. But they had several that stick out in my mind. They had a Gummy Bears kids' meal one time. And the Willow kids' meals, the boxes were all the way around with that fantastic fantasy artwork. And they had those magic cups where they had the diorama scene from the, as an animated all the way around the cup. And when you added cold liquid to it, different parts of the picture would then show up. Like the picture was it didn't look incomplete without the water in it. It's just more embellishment and different colors showed up when you put cold water in it, and then it would, warm back up and they would fade away. But the Willow Magic Cups, there were maybe 4 different ones. I only had one of them, I think. But I love the movie Willow. And at the time when those come out, I didn't get to go watch the movie in the theater, but I knew what it was and I was excited for it. And I was just all in on Willow without ever seeing the movie. So, and we used to go to, when we weren't going to Pizza Hut on a weekend meal, we were going to Wendy's for the Super Bar a lot. And so I had opportunities to get that stuff like that.
The Wendy's Super Bar. Yes. I'm looking at these cups now. I don't specifically remember them, but that's very cool. I'm seeing like a side-by-side of what the image looks like and then what it looks like with the liquid inside. And yeah, it adds, like you're saying, the little details and colors and stuff to kind of make it pop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Willow was one that I saw, I think it was at a friend's house. It might have been one of those HBO or whatever. I don't know, maybe if it was on cable at the time when it came out to cable, but it was not one that I connected with really as a kid. And how excited are you that they're bringing it back? Do you know they're bringing it back as a TV series?
Yeah, I've seen that. And I was also excited when I stumbled across it on Disney Plus when I was looking through all the movies.
That's right.
So I'm going to have to let my kids watch it.
Yeah, it's going to be a Disney Plus series from what I've read. So interesting there. Well, that's a good choice. I like that. A little quirky with, being the magic cups and changing color. I like that.
Before we go any further off the air, Jason and I, we kind of handicapped, was trying to guess how many of these picks of ours would be alike. I'm going to put the over-under at 1.5 because we was bouncing back and forth between 1 and 2 that we'd have alike. I'm still thinking it'll just be 1, though.
Okay.
Possibly 2, but I'm pretty sure of one of them. All right, but go ahead and continue.
All right, next on my list, we're still at in 1985, and we're at Wendy's for their GoBots promotion.
I missed that one altogether.
I remember having one of them. I think they released 6 with their, and it was like an extra charge, like 99 cents or something. But from what I remember, they were like actual GoBots. I mean, it wasn't like their little cheap knockoffs or something. I was thinking it came in the actual package.
Yeah, I'm looking at pictures of them now. I was going to say they're actually carded figures.
Yes. So it was like part, just the one I remember is the shuttle, the white. I think it had blue trim. I'm trying to find it here. Guide Star. Mm-hmm. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I found it. That was the one that I had, and it was one of those trips that we made over to the town that was 20 or 30 minutes away from our hometown. And I remember being there, and GoBot. I was huge into GoBots, and it was like, Mom, yeah, please, come on. I've got 1,000 of them, but I want 1,001. Give me another one. So. Yeah, and I'm looking at the box art too. All of these too, even the Thundercats had great boxes, came in superb art, and just boom, captured your eye. I don't remember a lot. We were talking on the McDonald's episode of the ones that were the shaped plastic, kids meals. I don't remember a lot of these being something like that. It was mainly your standard, kids meal box. A couple of them I think were more like packs you would call, but they're still they did a great job with the artwork on most of these they released, no matter what restaurant you were at.
So it looks like there were 6 of them: Beamer, Guide Star, Powwow, Oddball, Skyfly, and Breeze.
There you go.
Breeze looks like he's got some kind of rotors, so must be some kind of helicopter.
That's a dual blade helicopter there. Yeah.
Now I loved GoBots. We talked about it off the air. I preferred it over Transformers myself. So, but somehow I didn't even know these existed until just now.
Yep, I had that one. Wish I'd have had more, but yeah, I've gone back and recollected. I haven't gone back to look at some of these and how rare they were. If they were, just being exclusives to Wendy's back then. if you can still find them, but I'll have to do some research on that.
And man, you think about the difference between back then and now. Back then, you could get just an old GoBot figure in your Happy Meal. Now you can get a bag of apple slices. Nothing makes a kid happy like fruit with their Happy Meal.
That's right. All right, moving along.
Well, sticking to 1988, this is the one I was thinking may or may not be on your list. From Burger King in 1988, the Alf Puppets.
Yep, that's on my list. That was the next one on my list.
Then I'm thinking we're going to have two alike. Well, if it's next on your list, then we can talk about it together.
That's right.
I was huge into Alf when this happened. And the one I really wanted was the Rockstar Alf. And I'd be willing to bet that's what a lot of people wanted. But you had the Rockstar puppet, the chef Alf, the baseball player Alf, and the beachcomber Alf. I still have the beachcomber Alf today. And just like the Gremlins books, these come with a record. But they were, my brain thought they were part of a kid's meal. But they were $2.99 each with the purchase of a Whopper. So you had to buy a Whopper and then shell out another $3 in 1988 money to get these things.
Yeah, and the records were essentially cardboard, but still played. You know, you think of the what was it, the McDonald's song that they had in the newspapers? You know, that was probably less paper than what these were. But I still have my baseball Alf somewhere. It's in my closet somewhere. I was trying to dig it out and find it before the show, but yeah, the baseball one. Everybody, I think, did want the. You have which one? The surfing one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one was cool too because he came with like sunglasses. But
and the fact that they were hand puppets were cool. It was a full body Alf, but you could put your hand up his rear end and make him talk.
That's right. I was huge into Alf too. I loved the show. I had the huge talking plush Alf with the talk box inside that said, you know, no problem and I kill me and all the, you know, Alfisms back then. But yeah, gosh, this was like a must have for me as a kid. Had to have one of those Alf puppets. And the commercials, if you go back and watch the commercials too, they're great.
I was reading an article from the Sun Sentinel from when these came out in 1988, and it was a business article talking about how Burger King's business had been going down, and this promotion was specifically designed to turn their business around, and it worked. They sold so many of these things, and it brought so many people in to buy the Whoppers and stuff that it turned their business around, and they gained like 20% sales that summer over the previous summer.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was how powerful Alf was as a property in 87 and 88 for people who don't know.
It was huge. It was definitely huge. All right, moving along. Next on my list, 1989, Pizza Hut, the Back to the Future solar shades.
Yes. I figured that would be on your list.
I remember having a pair. I had the pair that was the red and yellow split in half with that crazy triangular shape.
That's the ones everybody wanted too.
Yeah, that's all I needed. I got them on the first try, but there's also like promotional cups that they had at that time. And looking on a website, they had these special lenticular pins that the employees wore that had the Pizza Hut Making It Great logo, and then it would switch to the Back to the Future 2 logo. I wish I had one of those, man. But yeah, those were a huge deal. And just the, you know, they're ridiculous and you're supposed to look probably futuristic, you know, for the movie. We're going to the future. I don't know. It just worked for me. Yeah.
Now, I wanted those back then, but for whatever reason, I never got any of them. And I'm jealous of the people who did, like you, because everybody wanted the pair that you just talked about having for whatever reason. I guess it does look cooler than the rest. But the pair that's like yellow and turquoise, it looks almost like goggles.
Yeah.
That's a pretty sharp pair, too. I'd wear those today.
Yeah. The crazy thing is, they didn't have, like Doc's glasses. I actually had a pair of those crazy, mirrored rubbery things. I don't even know where I got them from or whatever, but it's Doc's sunglasses that he uses when he's flying into the future and when he's in the future. It's funny that they didn't try to find something like that to have in the promotion.
Those always reminded me of Bret Hart sunglasses, or Bret Hart sunglasses reminded me of Doc Brown, one way or the other, but
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the same thing. That's right.
Well, let's see. Next on my list, this is the one I thought you were going to have on your list. 1989 at Hardee's, the Ghostbusters 2 toys.
It is on my list. It's the last one on my list. Yep.
Oh, no.
Yep.
And all I can remember about that is the Ghost Blaster noisemaker. That's the one I wanted. I seen the commercials for it. I wanted it. I was able to go get it. I didn't care about any of the other toys they had there.
Yeah. Now, we were talking too off the air that, we were trying to pick selections that you remember having as a kid. This is the only one I didn't remember having, but I had to include it just for, I didn't know it existed until a couple years ago, probably thanks to Chad. We've shouted it out 3 times. We might as well do it again. But because he's always talking about the Slimer Sundae, wanting the Slimer Sundae. And I always thought that was weird. It's green, obviously Slimer's green, but it was bubblegum flavored, I think is what he said. That was just to make that connection to me. But man, yeah, the noisemakers, and then you've got what was these little formed things here? Was that the container that it came in? So you had an Ecto-1 container and a proton pack?
I'm trying to get to it right now and see the pictures, because I this is one I didn't look pictures up of.
Yeah, I'm on a site called ectocontainment.com and found this whole big long article on the release, and it looks like they're those vacuum form containers like we were talking about.
I see that.
One was Ecto-1, one was a proton pack, and looks like maybe the other 2 were characters, maybe Slimer and something else. But man, I would love to have an Ecto-1 container like that. That's great.
Yeah, now in Google Images, I'm seeing some of them with the decals actually on them. That picture, I guess we're seeing the same picture where it's got the decals laid out in front of them.
Right.
Yeah, well, further down the page on Google Images, I see the proton pack with the stickers applied, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
And there's some great pictures of the Hardee's Ghostbuster cups. That was part of that promotion too. And then those Ghost Blasters, it just put out a high-pitched wee noise to it, which was kind of cool. I remember several people having them taken away from them in school.
Really?
That tells you. Yeah, oh yeah. But I love, for whatever reason, I wanted it. I don't know why, but I wanted it. And I had the gray one. There was gray, white, black, and red, and I had a gray one.
Uh-huh.
I wish I still had that thing. Only $1.79 each.
I just saw that same thing. $1.79 each.
With the purchase of a cinnamon raisin biscuit or any dessert.
Like a Slimer Sundae, yeah. It was bubblegum flavor. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Free Slimer Sundae with the purchase of a Ghostbusters 2 children's meal at regular price. Or a sundae of another available flavor. Available June 19th through July 16th, 1989. That was right after I think the movie came out in June that year. Anyway, great stuff. So yeah, I was right. We had 2 on the list. I'm done with my list. What's your last one?
Well, I've got 2 more.
Oh, okay.
I stole 2 of yours.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on.
All right. Sticking with Hardee's. A year later, 1990, they had the license to make the cars from the Days of Thunder movie. And you could get those in their kids' meals there. Or maybe, no, I'm pretty sure you had to buy those separately, too. It's a little harder to find information on the Days of Thunder Hardee's promotion, because you just search stuff like Days of Thunder Hardee's, you're getting the Hardee's car from the movie Days of Thunder, and not the stuff from oh nope, they actually had a kids meal box. How about that? Oh, there's somebody on eBay that's got one folded up. Days of Thunder Fun Meal Pack, They called theirs Fun Meals. I remember that. But they had 4 different cars. They had the green and yellow City Chevrolet car. They had the pink and white Superflow. Of course, they had the orange and blue Hardee's car, and they had the black Exxon car from Rowdy Burns. But being big into NASCAR in that period and loving the movie, oh, man. And, of course, my love of Hot Wheels and Matchbox. These were made by Matchbox. Let's just go today, you know. Hey, Dad.
Right,
let's go. You like that Frisco burger, right? Yeah, let's go today. And I'll get a Days of Thunder car.
Yeah, I'm looking at the art on the kids meal, fun meal pack, and I see the different cars that they have, and that was even fun too. They got like the stands, you know, like you're on the racetrack around the box. So,
and the cars they had were just barely less quality than the actual packaged cars that Matchbox put out on store shelves. Very, very little difference to them at all. So it was a really good quality car that come in those Fun Meals. But I had both. I had the ones you bought in the store, and I had the ones you got through Hardee's. I loved them.
Gosh, I just found one that I had no idea existed. The Home Alone 2 Fun Meal Pack. They had 4 collector cups and looks like maybe 4 storybooks, something that came with it. Oh man, this is looking awesome. I had no idea those existed. Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. All right, what's your last one?
Well, I just found something I didn't know existed either. Some Superflow motor oil trucker hats based on the Days of Thunder movie. And needing me one of those.
There you go.
All right, last one on my list, going up to 1993 and to my patron saint of fast food, Pizza Hut. You remember the street ball basketballs they had that you could get?
Oh, it sounds familiar. I'm going to have to look them up real quick.
Well, it was just a basketball, but with what they thought would be like urban street designs all over it. They were black and gray with like graffiti and stuff. And
dude, I think I still have one. The one, does it have like the Final Four logo on it?
It does.
I might still have it.
They had 2 different ones or 3, or I had the one that was gray and black with like the neon orange basketball printed on it and stuff. But yeah, they come out to take advantage of tie-in of March Madness that year, 1993. They were $4.99 with the purchase of any pizza. So you had to buy a pizza and spend $5 to get one of the street balls. But my 15-year-old, 200-pound, no jumping, white men can't jump hind end just knew that street ball was the final piece of the basketball puzzle for me.
Right.
That's all I needed.
Yes, I had the gray and black one, the orange logo, the Final Four. It's up until maybe a couple years ago, I still had the thing, and it was on our back porch. I don't know if I finally chunked it. I think it had a hole in it or something, but I didn't realize that came from Pizza Hut. Oh, gosh.
I had a basketball goal in the driveway back in those days, and I was always hesitant to take it out because we had a gravel driveway, so it'd get that gray dust all over it. And if I did take it out, I would go in and wash it off with a wet paper towel and get the dust off of it. It stayed in my bedroom. It didn't stay like out in the building where we had outside toys and yard equipment and all that. It stayed in the bedroom. I loved that thing. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of these other ones too. It must have been like an ongoing thing at Pizza Hut where they had like the Final Four ball that year, because I see one from 94, 95. There's like an all blue one, and then some other that are mainly black. Oh man, yeah. Basketball was my game back then, and yeah, the first thing we would do when we went to the county fair was to hit up those little basketball games in the midway and try to win a mini basketball. I still have a Lakers mini basketball that I won back in the day that I've kept in pristine order. But yeah, those were cool, man. Yeah, I remember having that. Well, that's good, man. Let's get on to some feedback if you've completed your list.
I have.
Okay. We got some feedback here on some of the promotions outside of McDonald's. Jeff Sheldon, part of the Retro Network, he was telling us, I hope you'll discuss the Pizza Hut Book It promotion. I got this giant pin in school, and it got my parents to take us to Pizza Hut once a week for dinner as long as they would give the waitress the name of the book I read that week, and I'd add a 3D star-shaped sticker to the pin. I think it was 5 stars, and we'd get a free pizza. I really enjoyed the promotion, as not only did I cherish that pin and still have it somewhere, and then he finally did post it on Twitter, but it got my parents to take us to Pizza Hut more often than we would have gone. As a kid, I always felt Wendy's had the cheapest and worst toys in the kids' meal game. I do remember, however, one Wendy's toy that was a spy kit. It had a map, 3D glasses, decoder ring, fake passports, and IDs. Pretty good for Wendy's and gave me plenty of hours of fun. So I don't remember doing the Book It promotion. Do you?
No, but I tell you, that is one of the most remembered things about Pizza Hut. In the Glory Days of Pizza Hut feature I'd done, I would say easily 75% of the comments mentioned the Book It promotion.
Mm-hmm.
That it's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if our Pizza Hut didn't participate or if it just wasn't something I got into. You know, I like to have pictures with my words, so I wasn't a big reader. Adam, go ahead.
Hold on now. I got some bad news for Jeff. I'm pretty sure that spy kit thing he's talking about came from McDonald's and not Wendy's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I remember that.
All right, moving along. Adam, our buddy Hoju. Pizza Hut had my allegiance in the early 90s with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Coming Out of Their Shells album and the Rocketeer promotion. We also can't forget about the Pizza Hut X-Men VHS tapes and mini comics. That was huge. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I know he's talked about the that Coming Out of Their Shells album, and I think he has it even in Spanish or something too. but don't remember them selling VHS tapes at all.
Yeah, I've got some comic book ads that I've clipped in the past featuring that. Yeah, that was a thing.
So that was the animated series tapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Eric Johnson at Illustrator Eric. Pizza Hut had their Book It Rewards program in the 90s that brought me and my parents in. And he posted a link to the 1987 commercial that Pizza Hut was using to promote that Book It Rewards. So there's another person into the Book It.
As far as I know, some places still do that. The local one here in town still has a book promotion for the local school. I don't know what the details are, but I know the reward is a free personal pan pizza. Mm-hmm. And I know they're still doing it today, but as of 5-6 years ago, I'm 100% positive they were doing it then because my kids were involved with it. And we was going, they were getting personal pan pizzas.
Cool. Okay, next up, Turtle Fan Forever at 20_years_before. Don't forget about the Darkwing Duck tie-in. Found this box in my mom's attic a few months ago, and he posted a pic of the actual pizza box from the Darkwing Duck promotion. I don't remember that one.
And hey, people who've not been there, I'm going to give him a shout out. Head over to his blog, 20yearsbefore2000.blogspot.com. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of fun retro and nostalgia stuff on there all the time. Updates Absolutely. Pretty regular too. Speaking of, I was on his site today gawking at the fact he got one of those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one-up arcade cabinets for Christmas. No. He's got pictures of it up on. Today was his Christmas wrap-up post. He was showing everything he got for Christmas, and he got the Palace Arcade mini game Stranger Things mini arcade.
Nice.
Thing, so.
I did see that go across my feed. I just did not check it out. Man, I want one of those cabinets. All right, Karen, who's Karen Fleeger 8 on Twitter. I really like Pizza Hut for the free personal pan pizza from the Book It promotion. We got a little
it's hot, here. Man. I'm telling you.
I love to read, and I love pizza, and basically getting paid in pizza to read was beautiful. Also, I got my very first issue of Nickelodeon magazine at Pizza Hut. Ooh. I read that cover to cover multiple times. I remember it had an article on Taylor Dane and a preview of the Pete and Pete Summer Special.
Ooh, I love Pete and Pete.
Nick magazine at Pizza Hut. That's another one I don't remember.
I don't remember that either.
Now, I do remember some of these in this next one here. Our buddy Kevin at Masked Library. I can still smell the Land Before Time puppets. Those were at Pizza Hut. I remember it was in high school. One of the seniors had the, I can't remember his name. It's the little pterodactyl or whatever. He had it in the dash of his truck, and he like kept it there. I do remember those. Taco Bell Godzilla. Now, I do remember this. This was college years. I think this was what? When did that come out? 96? 7?
97.
Okay.
97. Same year as Titanic was out.
Okay. It had the cups was what I remember, because it had that Godzilla that like wrapped around the cup like a cup holder. Those were really cool. He remembers Taco Bell having stuff for Star Wars Episode 1. Mm-hmm. The Pizza Hut X-Men that Adam mentioned, and the Burger King Simpsons Monsters.
Oh.
Don't remember those. I'm going to have to look those up. Burger King Simpsons, because this sounds really cool. Monsters. Oh,
hey, while you're looking that up, I know that Godzilla came out the same year as Titanic, because I had a first date with a girl who wanted to see Titanic, and I wanted to see Godzilla, so we saw Godzilla. So how many dates do you think we had after that?
Speaking of Titanic, I went to see Titanic 3 times with 3 different girls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, size does matter.
One of them would eventually become my wife, but
oh.
It was
she passed the Godzilla test.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the things you do for love. Those Burger King Simpsons Monsters, they came out in at least the ones I saw looked like 2001, somewhere around in there. So, past what I remember. And then our final comment comes from at RKO Lemon Jack. Pizza Hut had some really good promotions that went under the radar. I never knew about this one, just found this on the internet, and he put a pic of the Darkwing Duck Kids Pack items.
Mm.
I think that was, when did Darkwing Duck come out? That was early 90s, I think.
Yeah, I want to say 90.
90 or 91. So, yeah, good stuff. Thanks everybody for chiming in on that. But yeah, you're right, man. That Book It promotion, that's like tied into Pizza Hut, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of the main memories people have of it.
Awesome. Well, this was fun, man, putting this together. And yeah, I got to dig out that Alf puppet, and maybe we can do some behind the scenes puppetry for Patreon.
We can start an Alf puppet show.
Yeah, the Alf Puppet Show coming to the Retro Network on YouTube. But we'll have to market, for kids. Darn.
I don't know how you can have your hand up another creature's butt and it be marketed towards kids, but we can go with it.
All right. On that note, we are going to wrap up the time machine and move along, and we're going to come back with a wrap up of the week, tell you what's coming up right after this. All right, we are back to tell you what's coming up on the Retro Network this week, and we've got a new episode of the Wax Pack Flashback, I know, coming up, Mick.
Well, it's moved to Fridays now from Wednesdays because of Wizard Wednesdays and Eric's Way Back Wednesday music feature. I didn't want to crowd Wednesday, so I politely moved to Fridays. So this past Friday's episode, if people who are listening have missed it, I opened a pack of Knight Rider cards from 1983, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to watch that, and any cards you see me flipping through that you don't have in your collection, you need to let me know so I can send them to you.
Okay.
But this coming Friday, I was very excited to open this pack of cards. I didn't even know they existed until a couple months ago. Bought them, held off on opening them, and they didn't disappoint. I'm opening a pack of Saved by the Bell trading cards on the next episode.
Oh,
now,
nice.
Most people who know trading cards will remember or know about the Saved by the Bell, the college years cards. That's not what these are. These were 25 cents a pack. You got 4 or 5 cards in a pack, They were saved by the Bell cards from the height of the original show. So, in beautiful gold and green and red foil package. They were beautiful. And the cards are slick and glossy. I don't want to spoil too much because that was one of the favorite packs of cards I've opened in a while. So that'll be this Friday.
Nice. Yeah, I had no idea either. Well, I was just thinking, did any kids' meals ever have trading cards in them that you know of? I wonder if that was ever a thing. Because, gosh, well,
not off the top of my head.
Why didn't we get like packs of cards back then, you know?
I can remember trading cards, especially sports cards, being a big thing for cereal promotions.
Right.
Cereal box premiums, but I can't recall off the top of my head any kids' meal trading cards.
I remember I had some Jimmy Dean sausage baseball cards. Speaking of the Wienermobile. No. No, seriously. I remember, I don't know what, if it was, I used to get those little 2-packs of sausage biscuits, you know, maybe it was in one of those, you know, you put in the freezer, but yeah, man. I don't know. It just came to mind. Coming up on podcast, we got Wizards episode 2 dropping tomorrow, man, on the 15th. Looking forward to that. I just finished listening to episode 1. So much great stuff that they packed in there. If you have not listened, please go back and check it out this week in the feed because it's just a fun, packed episode. I wasn't into comics or anything at the time, so it's a lot of it is, you know, kind of fresh to me, and hearing just all the aspects of the magazine, the price guides, and how they're doing their fun segments. It was really fun listen.
You know what I think the best part of the first episode, and I'm sure it'll continue as it goes on, is not necessarily what they're talking about, but the enthusiasm that Adam and Michael both have for it. It's infectious. Now, me personally, that was my sweet spot for comics in the 90s. That was probably the biggest thing I was into. So I have that exact same enthusiasm, even just listening to it. But their enthusiasm is contagious. And like I've mentioned before, even if you weren't into comics, Wizard was full of stuff about movies, TV shows, trading cards, action figures, and they're covering a lot of that stuff too. So give it a listen, even if comics weren't your top priority back then.
Absolutely, yeah. I had some Rocketeer talk in there, and
some fascinating Rocketeer talk about the casting and stuff. I never knew that before, but I thought that was really interesting.
Yep. So check out episode 2 dropping soon. And then this Friday, Sequel Quest returns with a rewind episode on The Room 2. So be sure to check that out as well. And for those of you that might listen or watch on YouTube, I'm trying to get those episodes. Podbean is kind of weird where it only allows one auto upload to YouTube a week. So I've missed some in between, and I'm trying to go back to YouTube and upload all the podcasts there as well for those of you who might want to check it out there. But we're pretty much in every podcast app. I've been doing some digging, Mick, this last week, and there's one I think called Bullhorn. We got our feed up on there, and I'm just trying to get everywhere we can with the podcast and welcome some people in. So if we're not on the app that you might be using, let me know so I can apply and get us on there. Would appreciate that. And if you would, give us a rating too while you're there. Leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. Always look for that feedback at TRN Social on social media, at RD80s for me, at Yesterdayville for Mick, if you want to reach out on social media. But man, getting pumped up for Tommy Boy. Can't wait to get that episode going, and it's going to be fun, man. I don't know about you, but when I watch Tommy Boy, I have to watch Black Sheep right after it. I got to watch those two back to back. It's just a thing. It's I don't know. It's almost like a sequel to me. But looking forward to doing that show with you over there on Patreon very soon. But for Mickey, this is Jason. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week for another episode of the Retro Network Podcast.
And in the meantime, I've almost got our MySpace finished. Y'all people keep an eye out for it.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Retro Network Podcast channel. Make sure you listen to all of the great podcasts we have to offer right here in this feed. If you enjoy our channel, please give us a 5-star rating in your favorite podcast app. Connect with us on social media by following TRN Social and visit the retronetwork.com website for your daily retro fix. Come back next week for another episode of the Retro Network Podcast.